This is an actual experience. Like, this is a room, right?
Social experience or experiment.
Yeah.
We'll see. Let's see what that is.
Hi and welcome to the Internet of Life show, where we explore the next era of the internet and how it can be a place for true togetherness. I'm Felix Zeltner, I'm your host, and I'm excited to bring together on this show the leading voices of Web3, metaverse builders, XR designers, AI researchers, corporate leaders, policymakers, authors, creators, to openly discuss the challenges and opportunities of this new virtual era. The Internet of Life show is presented by the Tomorrow Foundation, a forward-thinking portfolio of 3D simulations, virtual and augmented reality, and AI-powered products. The Tomorrow Foundation combines gamification, urbanization, and digitization, and has over 450 patents in its portfolio. In our inaugural episode, recorded in Dubai, I sit down with Cevat Yerli, founder and CEO of the Tomorrow Foundation, and Tim Salau, aka Mr. Future of Work, the co-founder and director of product at Guide. Together, we discuss why Web3 is about our freedom, not us being a product, and what that means for its business model. We discuss what the concept of the Internet of Life is all about and how it fits into Web3. We discuss why in a world that will consist of 10 billion gamers soon, gamification is a way to survival, and lastly, how living in this next era of the Internet will allow us to spend more time in real life, not less. You can find a transcript of this episode and future episodes on the Internet of Life platform at internetoflife.org. If you have thoughts or guest suggestions, please email us at iolshow@internetoflife.org. This episode is produced by Aldona Kwiatkowski and Rob Lange. Special thanks to Nathan Grigola. Now, let's dive in. I'd like to first introduce you to our guests. Cevat Yerli created his first computer game at age 12. At 19, he founded Crytek, the global gaming powerhouse whose first-of-a-kind real-time 3D engine disrupted the industry and remains its benchmark today. Under Cevat's leadership as CEO, game director, and executive producer, Crytek launched blockbuster IPs played by hundreds of millions of people, winning hundreds of awards. Cevat now leads the Tomorrow Foundation, developing the Internet of Life to shape a better future for virtual human interaction. He also serves as founding CEO of Room, the immersive 3D conferencing solution for virtual interaction with real-time video presence. Whenever you hear Room come up in his podcast, you can actually check it out at room3d.com. And now to Tim Salau. Tim, aka Dr. Fau or Dr. Future of Work, has worked at Facebook, LinkedIn, Microsoft, and WeWork as a UX designer, product manager, and community lead. He has really seen big tech from the inside. Now, he's the co-founder of Guide, a software-as-a-service learning and talent development platform. He's also a keynote speaker, shaping the discussion on the future of work and leadership. So I started the podcast by asking Tim, as somebody who has shaped Web 2, what does Tim see as the milestones of Web 3 that are coming at us?
I've been in this space for so long now, it's hard to talk about things anymore. Because what Web 2 was. You know what I'm saying? What Web 3 will become is now. We are shaping it, my friends. And it's so scary because it's not about community, actually, in Web 3. Funny enough, it's not about community. It's actually deeper than that, dude. And I realized this not only after being here with you all and learning more about the work you all are doing, but a few days ago in my bedroom as well. It's actually, the layer is deep. It's about freedom, independence, and this empowerment. This empowerment and control. I will choose to evolve, and I still want you to respect my privacy, with my option to be public, to engage in whatever platform you have or whatever ecosystem you're building. But don't you ever deny me of my freedom to be private, right? And I'm saying it in a sentence, but we have an economy of creators who are building it and driving it, and it's a huge subculture now, but you still are seeing corporations who are trying to take away their freedom in a sense, right? And there's this struggle.
Very well said, Tim. I think you hit the nail at the head. For me, if you look at Internet of Life or our vision of the next internet, right, as we say it, it's all about empowering people, right? And it's the person cannot be the product anymore. Right? If you look at Web 2, it wasn't built for the people. It was built using people. And fundamentally, that's a shift. Right? You have to build it for the interest of the people, right? Without compromising people, without taking their privacy and selling it, without taking their digital lives and digital twins and marketing it because you're offering a free service. And that's not a decision that companies should take. It should be you as a user. Like you said, you share it with the public, it's your choice, right? It's your freedom. I think you're absolutely right. We're looking at a transformational shift that is a complete different model. To be honest, that's a model how it should have been from day one.
Yeah.
Right? We should have always been in control of our digital selves, just like we are in control of our physical selves. Right? But if you were to picture a Web 2 company as a country, you would see a country where you enter that place, that country, and you have cameras on you, people watching you all the time.
And in the country, they're duplicating you as a bot.
Exactly. And you will see in the mirror a digital twin that looks away when you look straight. All kinds of stuff, trying to predict what you do, right? So you would then see products thrown at you that you don't need. A lot more that feels like not in your control, right? It feels too much pressured on you or pushed on you. And I do believe that there has been advantages, of course, in tech. Like every tech should enable something new, like connecting people was a powerful part of the previous internet or even of the internet in general. But at what price did that happen, right? So yes, Tim, I think, couldn't have said it better than anybody else in the world. This is about freedom.
It's about freedom.
But in the end, we have to use platforms to enjoy that freedom, and these platforms are owned by someone. So how do you prevent the owners to just become corporations like the Web 2 companies did?
I do think it's a very simple answer to a seemingly complex question, to be honest. It's attitude from the business. It's respect the people, respect their freedom, build models that do not compromise there. You have to build models that allow advertisement to work without taking the freedom of the person away. It's possible. You can build all kinds of internet technologies that copy, if you want, the same benefits, but innovate. Let's stay with freedom. Innovate the freedom side of things on the user. So it is for the people, right? I started Tomorrow Foundation through the eyes of using as a lens the eyes of my kids. I want them to live in a digital world that is mirrored in a physical world, or vice versa, respecting their lives. This has been my mission from that perspective, because when you get kids, suddenly it's all about them, and then you realize how screwed up the world is potentially. In many areas, and of course, technology always we benefited from technology massively, and this is all good. But then the price was not need to be paid, right? So when I look at my kids, I said I don't want them to become digital products of some other businesses. I don't want them to lose their own sovereignty when it comes to decision making and how do I live. It has you have to have control over your data, right? And you need to be able to say, when do I want to share it? With whom do I want to share it? And by the way, under which condition I share it? I.e., I want to be paid for that.
You call
it powerful. Those are the layers to it right there, man.
You call it the Internet of Life, this next iteration. So the Web 2 that we just talked about, we became products because the business model was advertising. So they had to use us. We gave them all our data. We gave them everything. They used it for advertising and created huge businesses. When you look at what the revenue is for Facebook or for Instagram today, it's still like in the 90-something% is ads. So that's how they make their money. So what is the business model behind the Internet of Life that you're creating? What do you think is gonna change away from the advertising model?
I want Tim to speak to anything that is not advertisement, but let me just chime in for the advertisement.
Of course.
Many people do not think you can do this still.
Dude, you want to go first on this?
Go ahead.
Okay,
please.
Dude, man, let's stop playing, man. Facebook is a joke. Like I wanna start there, man. From revenue, from a business, from an operation standpoint, and even from a vision standpoint, dude. Every creator, developer, engineer, and true innovator, that's a new word that I'm trying to make up, that I'm trying to drive, innovator, I know knows this, but obviously, you need the platform to market. You need the platform to build brand, to connect with your community to a degree. There's nothing, it's a necessary evil, it's okay. But it's a joke because everyone sees that their heart isn't in it from a culture and a subculture standpoint and a creative standpoint. But more importantly, they think they're building what it will become because they have the engineering capacity and the brains. But what they don't understand is that this subculture is evolving at a crazy rate, but it's more about brawn, integrity, and heart for this subculture. They don't care how many new devices you'll throw at them. They don't care how much you'll change your name to Meta. You can even change it to Met the next day to shorten it and make it easier for them to remember. They don't care. They literally see through it. And if you imagine that's where they're at now, and and just like the amount of energy they're bringing into this new subculture and are driving this mega wave, imagine where they're going to be in 2030, 2040, 2050, in decades. And then they're the generational effect of their children, right? What I've shared it with people who are in my inside network, and I've shared it with you all. I don't believe Facebook is going to be relevant in 100 years for sure. But as I look at the data and I talk with the subculture, by 2035, it's already Yahoo now. But by 2035,
just to clarify, you worked with Facebook.
I worked with Facebook, and I'm grateful and I was humbled by the experience. But by 2035, we're going to be living in a completely different world, man. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I know I'm going to be in this world because it's going to be exciting. So that's my point of view.
Maybe just to speak about, because it seems to be there's about the business models, there seems to be there is just an option of either it's advertisement or it's paid. And I don't agree with that. There's so many ways to create business models that would change the fate of companies like Facebook entirely. And just to give you an example of the advertisement system, I mean, Tim just said it when he said you choose what you share with the public, right? If Facebook would incentivize people, first of all, if users would own their data, and then Facebook would incentivize users to share their data against the revenue share on the advertisement to get more targeted results, users would do that. Users would do that to some degree, and this opt-in would be enough for users to, because they can always switch it off again, right? So if you are in control and you're invited to earn money alongside this Facebook sharing, you are empowering the community, the community to get benefits that are shared with the company. Might be small benefits, might be $50 a month, might be several $100 a year. Still, it's participation. Web3 is from a technical term about participating together with the company that creates the products. Whether it is co-creation or co-participation in business models, or even reselling, empower the creators, the users to resell for you. Right? There's so many different ways to build ultimately a core product, freemium models that will not compromise in the user amounts. We have seen it in video games in different models. And now video games don't necessarily empower you on the data side, but they invent many different ideas of monetization models. Now, monetization sounds like an evil term, right? But it's really about value-add services. So if there's a value, you charge money for that, and that's fair. That's okay. But also good games have shown us, if you spend your time on it, you can also access the same goodies as somebody pays for it. Yeah, that's the kind of model you can always provide. And there's many other innovative business models. But it's a lazy approach. Either you sell the ride or you sell the product.
Right.
And that I don't agree with.
You see, that's such a powerful level of nuance. And I have a question for you. I'm also respecting Felix's amazing facilitation. I want to add to this and just give some added perspective here. The Facebook's and Meta's business models, they're hurting themselves with it because it won't adhere to not only Web3 culture, but where things are going beyond Web3. When you look at really the groundwork of Web3 and what will become spatial reality, augmented reality, whether it be mixed reality, I don't care wherever spectrum you're on, it's really positioned around a company that doesn't act as an intermediary, actually. It acts more like a host. I welcome you into my ecosystem. If you want to even do business with other brands or their partners or people, I get out of your way and I let you do that. You have that control. So brands and businesses that are hosts are going to thrive. Brands, businesses, and monopolies that are piranhas are going to die.
Clearly.
Do you understand that? So it's like, how long do you want to be a piranha in an open sea of hosts?
One thing that struck me, and you just announced this, is that with Room, your first product, you are going to launch a platform for people to create their own rooms and then rent them out, maybe even sell them out. So this is exactly what you just talked about, right? So
it's one of the ways, and with Internet of Life, technically spoken, let's say philosophically first, it's about getting together, right? The first internet was about information, right? Like getting information at your fingertips, as Bill Gates would say, right? First, and I thought it was like striking when he summarized like this. Then you had social media, which connected people, and I think after connecting, the next technical evolution is after connecting, you have to get together, right? Getting together requires implicitly in physical sense 3D. And why I say in physical sense, because to be lifelike, and if we want to mimic life, because that's natural. So you have to have 3D spaces. And I thought Internet of 3D doesn't sound cool, but life is 3D. So Internet of Life is about mimicking life, sharing life with others. But more importantly, it is about accessing and sharing life across the whole world, right? At our fingertips and at a click of a button. You're able to get together with people from different countries, different socioeconomic backgrounds, different cultures, right? And the whole difference of backgrounds disappears when you come together, right? Togetherness is the essence to build relationships. So today, a lot of businesses build teams across the world.
Including yours.
Including ours, exactly. And so when you have teams spread across the world, one of the hardest things to do is to keep up your culture, keep up the relationship, right? And the purpose of Internet of Life is to build fundamentally better relationships. So coming back to technical terms, it's about upgrading, like Internet of Life's technical vision, is to upgrade what has been 2D and alone and isolated into a more 3D and together, real-time experience. And the room is the snapshot, the first manifestation for that. As the Doctor of Future of Work will agree with, it is about the future of work, right? It is about how you build better relationships with your teams and have ultimately a better productive day.
And it actually led to us today sitting here because you saw it on Twitter first, right?
Yeah.
What did you see? What kind of phrase or sentence got you onto this mission? Like got you hooked?
I can tell that you all are focused on, everyone knows we need to be connected, but you all are focusing on a different element people aren't really talking about, which is presence. Like, are you present? Do you actually hear me? Do you care? Do you feel it? You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, Zoom can execute as many product launches and features and build as many kind of like third-party APIs as they want and integrate with as many companies as they want. But when I'm on Zoom. I don't necessarily feel like you feel me. Like, I'm just on there to like talk to 1 to like 5, right? Like, or 1 to 30. Like, it's really more about quantity, or it's just, let's just get this meeting done. But when I got into room, I was like, oh, I get it, right? Even in the names, like I walk into a room, but are you present? Like, this is everyone at the table, right? We're talking, we're chatting. How are you doing? Like, I mean, I was even trying to see who else is here. Like, I was like, what the heck? I actually had that feeling. We've all gotten on a Zoom call. We're not even looking for anyone. Okay, he's over there in the little square. All right, I see you. Like,
yeah.
That's not an experience, dude. So that's really the confluence of seeing that demo, having that experience, understand that you all have like a really broad vision. And obviously, it's very long term, and you have to work backwards and then at the same time forwards. But with the current of life, I was like, oh, I see it. Because the Tomorrow Foundation isn't just Room. Room is an offshoot of that, but it's a big part of where tomorrow is going to become. So,
and speaking of, this is exactly, it's about sharing life and sharing that space. And only if you are present, right, and don't switch off your microphone and camera, you can actually build up lifelike experiences. And why do people switch off cameras in video conference systems? Because it's not natural. It hurts them. Literally, like, it tires them down, and sometimes there are too many, so they say, I don't want to be part of this, or it is a subconscious, unnatural experience.
I just wanted to make one point that I think you, Tim, also mentioned before we sat down here. There seems to me now that I'm learning about Web3, 2 Web3s. One is where your camera is on and you go to the doctor or to your school or to a bank or interact with your government, where identity is you and your face, and it's needed and people need to see you. But there's also another Web3 where people don't want to be seen. And I even interacted with some people here in Dubai that said, yeah, okay, I get this, but there's also another community that I'm a part of where I look completely different, I have a completely different name, and there's no cameras involved at all.
And that's escapism. Escapism is part of our life. It's never going to go away. And metaverses are rooted in escapism. Yeah, metaverses with avatars, metaverses fantastical worlds. Metaverse is where I can hide myself to be somebody else, right? Or empower myself to be somebody else. Either way, however you want to do it. You can be anonymous, hiding yourself, or you can empower yourself to be a cowboy or a clown.
or an alien.
Or an alien, exactly, right? So that will be there. And that's why I believe that the metaverse is more the future of the game industry and entertainment as opposed to be the future of the internet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this was the question I wanted to ask you, because you come from, dude, you've built engines before, with Crytek and then Far Cry and everything you did with your brothers. You dominated that industry, and then you came into this space now that you're doing. You didn't have to. You can live your life and you can retire with your kids and like enjoy it. But in parallel to that question, it's like, why? Why are you doing that? Because that's actually, I know what you're doing and you've shared the why, but it's like, what, and I've read the story, but it's like, what gave you that? Oh man, I can't let this happen again.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it, hinted on it a bit with the birth of my twins. This was 2011. And when they were born, my father would tell me, like, when you get kids, a switch will happen. And it's going to be all about your kids from that moment. And because he said this happened to him, and they would, as immigrant families, like sacrifice effectively their quality of life for us to have their chance even. Like when they moved from Turkey to Germany, then I was born. And it was all about enabling us a better future. And like he would work and spend like 6 months, 9 months of working, saving money to buy a computer. Like nobody in our neighborhood had a computer. This would enable us to get exposure to games. And then I would be curious how they do it. And I would discover programming eventually. But all of that is now for me to repeat in my own capacity, in my own means. And I said I would never forgive myself if I knew I might have a 0.0001% chance to impact the world. I would not take that chance. I would never forgive myself, right? And I also looked at a bunch of gigatrends, even including urbanization and climate change, IoTification, we call it as well, digitalization, And then one thing we also looked at was gamification, right? So at that time I looked at that, there was like 2.3 or something billion gamers. Today there's 3 billion gamers. So it was obvious to me, within 10 years, you have a full world of gamers. So in a way, it came back to me, gaming. I said, like, I have to...
Gaming is life.
Yeah.
Life is gaming.
Exactly. And then I realized, hold on, this is a digital manifestation of us. That's why it's been growing. It never stopped. Gaming is our nature. We are playful creatures. But we stop playing when we go to schools, right?
And when we go to work, they don't see people as kindred gamers in a sense.
Exactly. And gaming was culturally something like niche or bad or inefficient or like escapism, like sort of like unproductive, right?
Dude, I have aunts and uncles who, like, my son is playing too much games. I don't like it. Gaming is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Encourage it.
I said, like, if you want your kid's brain to develop, find the right games, but let him play a lot, right? They will train your kids much faster than any school you can have.
Shout out,
Yeah.
Cevat,
Yeah.
just as a little question between what games do you give your kids to play at the moment?
Well, it's creation games, right? For example, Minecraft, right? My son, when he was 10 years, he built a whole little planet by himself almost. Yeah, he builds like cities in Minecraft. It's like from buildings to cities to whole planets. And that stimulates creativity more than any school homework can do, right? And I think this is powerful. And any kind of puzzle games, logic games, even like right now spelling bee kind of stuff, where they learn how to spell via playing, right? So the point is, it's all about the planet's getting gamified, right? Our population's getting gamified. And since that is the case, if you want to now change the world, you need to harness and respond and speak to that, and you need to build a future for that, for those gamers, right? And so I've been involved in a bunch of giga projects in this region, and they would tell me this is the city of the future and all that, and I'm like, have you thought about, because it's a city, right? So it's 50 years, 100 years ahead. Have you thought about the fact that your citizens will be all gamers, right? Anyway, coming back to the core vision, I realized that because we had an impact on how people create games, I was thinking maybe we can have an impact on the way people create digital life or virtual life experiences.
Creating their own reality.
Exactly. And then if you want to change your community, probably you're going to play a Minecraft-like game to propose a better neighborhood. Change it, submit it, let the mayor play it, council, city council, and if they like it, they greenlight it. So you can have an impact on real world through virtual world. And to cut the long story a bit more shorter, for me, it was about like building the future that I thought is absolutely critical. And Web3 was not even a discussion at that time, right? We were talking about 2012, 13, 14 was the seed.
The evolution of the Tomorrow
yes.
Foundation I've seen.
Exactly. And so for me, the inception was create a more fair world, create a world that is more empowering. Nowadays, people call it Web3. I just called it the Internet of Life. And it was always for me Internet of Life because it's about empowering your life. So Internet of Life is actually to make your life more valuable and lead everything to your life, right? When you build a game, you want to make sure there's a certain outcome. You don't tell the player, go left, go right, shoot this guy in a shooter. You let him explore and discover it himself, so he figures out if he's super smart about it. But we actually encoded design clues to find for him the right path to do the right thing.
Of course.
In life, we need to design life like that too. We need to figure out an experience design, an explicit design that allows people to get better human beings without telling them, hey, get better. Like become a better human being. Nobody follows these orders. But if you actually create experiences for banking, for doctors, for schools, for work, right, that actually make you better without you realizing it, we will effectively end up in a world where the more people use Internet of Life, the better they will come, the better the world will become, the better there will be more people empowered to create more. This is going to be a win-win-win-win across the whole board.
So to paraphrase this, whenever I spoke to Web2 companies over the last 10 years, the only thing they told me spend more time on the platform, post more, you're going to be more successful. You're actually
That's
saying the
crazy.
opposite.
I'm saying
You're saying spend as little time as
be more
necessary
efficient.
and be very efficient about it so you can spend more time in the real world.
Yes, exactly. Because if there's one truth that COVID revealed, it showed what's really important, right? And really important was that you spend more time with your kids because you can. They're next to you right now, right? Number one. Number two, it showed that I don't have to put up with 1 hour traffic. You know, the average commute time across the world is 1 hour and 20 minutes. Can you imagine that?
That's ridiculous,
so,
man.
like, how many billions of cars are driving at least over close to 1.5, or like, there's commute times. I always try to make my commute time less than 15 minutes, right? And Crytek started with a commute time of 1 minute, in fact. I walked down the stairs and I walked up the office. So now we can do it at a click of a button, right? And I do believe people need to get together in real life. Again, like even Room, we say openly, Room is not the best way to get together. Life is. But if you can't get, and if you want to save yourself time, then take Room, right? So fundamentally, spend less time digitally by us or other ecosystem creators, making those experiences really sharp and clean, down to the point, what do I need to get done, get it done, and then use that time to live your life.
Man, that's such a nice thing to hear. So
after
going completely bonkers, we might actually return to something.
He has like 1,000 shots.
Yes. Before we close off, last 30 seconds. Tim, let's start with you.
Man, if you are listening to this, please check out what Room and the Tomorrow Foundation is doing. It's incredible. And more importantly, join us in our journey with Guide. We are truly in alignment with what the Tomorrow Foundation is doing. We believe in equipping every creator with the skills, mindset, and opportunities for a fulfilling career. That is our mission statement. And, now we're about helping those who want to be creators in the web now economy, is how we're positioning it, to create their own realities. It's not going to happen today, but in a decade it's going to happen. And we want you to join us in that mission, and know that we are partners with the Tomorrow Foundation in co-creating that mission together.
Cevat.
For me, I hope that everybody that listens resonates with our discussion here, because our intentions are to do good. Our intentions are the core social responsible. Yeah, we want to drive technology to the right direction. Technology is like an organism that can grow in every direction based on who is pushing it in which direction, right? And collectively, the more people join that mission and the more people join that movement of building the right future with us, the more high likely our kids or us even in our lifetime are going to live in a better world, right? So here's the call to action. Join us, join the movement, and let's create the world together.
Thank you. I'm not going to go back to my kids because they just arrived. I'm Felix. Thank you so much for listening, and see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Felix.
Thanks, Tim.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Great job.
Wow.
Thank you for listening to the Internet of Life show, presented by the Tomorrow Foundation. Find out more at tomorrow.com. You can find the transcript of this episode and future episodes on the Internet of Life platform at internetoflife.org. Do you have thoughts or guest suggestions? Please email us at iolshow@internetoflife.org. Thank you, and see you soon.